There's something strange about the way we talk about money. When someone buys a Ferrari, we call them wealthy. When someone lives in a giant house, we call them wealthy. When someone wears expensive watches, takes luxury vacations, flies first class, and eats at restaurants where nobody asks the price, we call them wealthy. But every so often, a story appears that makes us stop. A celebrity goes bankrupt. An athlete earns hundreds of millions of dollars and somehow ends up broke. A lottery winner loses everything. A business owner makes more money than they ever imagined and quietly admits that they're trapped. And for a moment, something feels wrong. Because if money creates wealth, how can someone have so much of it and still lose everything? The answer begins with a distinction that most people are never taught. Rich and wealthy are not the same thing. And the difference has surprisingly little to do with numbers and has everything to do with freedom. You've probably noticed something else. Some people seem to spend money almost as quickly as they earn it. A bigger house, a nicer neighborhood, a newer car, a better watch, or a more expensive vacation. As their income grows, their lifestyle grows with it. From the outside, they're succeeding, but something strange happens. Their obligations grow faster than their freedom. A larger mortgage, higher taxes, more maintenance, and more expectations. They also have a reputation to maintain and a social circle to keep up with. The performance becomes expensive. And that's where one of the hidden rules begins. Rich often means high cash flow. Wealthy often means high optionality. Optionality is one of those words that sounds complicated until you experience its absence. It means having choices and options. The choice to leave a bad job, the choice to move cities, the choice to walk away from a bad business deal, the choice to spend time with your children, the choice to care for aging parents, the choice to say no. Money can buy many things, but one of the most valuable things it buys is the ability to choose. And strangely enough, many people with enormous incomes have very little choice at all. History offers countless examples. During the Gilded Age, some of America's great industrial fortunes looked almost limitless. Magnificent homes, private rail cars, lavish parties, and entire newspapers dedicated to following their lives. Yet many of those fortunes disappeared within 2 generations. Not because they ran out of money, but because they confused wealth with performance. Their identities became tied to maintaining appearances. Their expenses became permanent. Their lifestyles became obligations. They owned impressive things, but eventually those things owned them. This pattern didn't disappear, it simply changed costumes. Today, social media allows ordinary people to perform wealth. Luxury cars can be leased, designer clothes can be financed, vacation photos can be staged, and entire lives can be curated. The appearance of wealth has never been easier to create, which creates an uncomfortable question. If wealth can be performed, how do we know what it actually is? Perhaps ownership gives us a clue. Rich often consumes, and wealthy often owns. This doesn't simply mean owning stocks or businesses. It means owning assets that continue working after all the attention disappears. Owning time, owning skills, owning reputation, owning relationships, owning land, owning intellectual property, owning systems instead of simply participating in them. Consumption feels good because it creates immediate emotion, and ownership feels boring because it creates delayed freedom. One creates excitement, and the other creates options. And human beings have always struggled to choose the quiet reward over the immediate one. But there's another difference that's even harder to see. Rich often performs, and wealthy often protects. This may be one of the strangest psychological shifts money creates. When people first experience financial success, they naturally want evidence of it. A better house, a better wardrobe, a better neighborhood, or a better car. Not because they're shallow, but because human beings use symbols. Status has always existed. Every society has signals. But eventually, many wealthy people begin moving in the opposite direction. Privacy and predictability becomes valuable. Trust becomes valuable. Calm becomes valuable. The goal changes. Instead of proving success, they begin protecting peace. This explains something many people notice but rarely discuss. Some of the wealthiest people you'll ever meet don't look particularly wealthy. Their clothes aren't fancy, their cars are practical, and their routines are boring. They're difficult to impress because they stopped trying to impress other people years ago. The performance ended and protection began. And perhaps that's because they've learned another hidden truth. Attention is expensive. The more people who know about your life, the more expectations they place on it. The more comparisons that you invite, the more explanations that you have to owe. Privacy protects freedom. Reputation protects opportunity. Trust protects relationships. And quiet protects peace. These forms of wealth rarely appear on a balance sheet, but they compound all the same. There's another pattern hiding underneath all of this. Rich people often think about this year, and wealthy people often think about the next decade. Not always, but often. One asks, what can I afford? The other asks, what does this decision make possible later? A purchase isn't simply a purchase. A relationship isn't simply a relationship, and a habit isn't simply a habit. Everything creates future options or future obligations, and over time, life becomes the accumulation of those choices. Perhaps that's why some people with modest incomes quietly become wealthy, and why some people with incredible incomes remain trapped. The difference was never simply earnings. It was about optionality. The ability to build a life with room to breathe, to say no, to change direction, to survive unexpected storms, to protect relationships, to protect health, and to protect peace. Maybe that's why the conversation around wealth often feels incomplete, because we measure income, houses, businesses, and possessions. But the things people secretly want are different. They want security, they want time, they want choices, they want dignity, and they want freedom. Money often becomes the language we use to describe those desires. But perhaps money was never the destination. Perhaps it was simply a tool, a way to purchase a little more control over our own lives. Which brings us back to the difference between rich and wealthy. Rich can be seen. Wealth often cannot. Rich can attract attention. Wealth often creates distance from needing it. Rich can buy experiences. Wealth buys options. Rich consumes. Wealth owns. Rich performs, and wealth protects. And maybe that's why people sometimes spend their entire lives chasing one while quietly hoping for the other. Because beneath the houses, the cars, the watches, the vacations, and the numbers, most people aren't really searching for money. They're searching for the feeling that tomorrow contains choices. And maybe the deepest form of wealth has never been about having everything. Maybe it's about waking up and realizing that your life still belongs to you.